Hello, everybody. Thanks, Yasmin. Hi, welcome, everyone. I'm sure that more colleagues will be joining. I hope you're feeling better, Yasmin, than you were last week. So,
Yes, a lot. Thank you, Mark.
good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
to hear it. So I lost my voice on Monday. Well, over the weekend, actually. Um, so it's coming back. So if I sound a bit gruff today, that's why. And I wasn't screaming at the TV at sports. No, I wasn't. No, it's fine. It's fine. I actually feel fine. It's just my voice went. That's all. All right. Um, let's take a moment as we wait for people to log on. Welcome. Hello. Let's make a moment for wellness, right? If we're making time for our wellness, we don't want to be forced to make time for our illness, and that's why we're going to make time for our wellness, and that's why we're here today, so that we can share a message of wellness and progress for the next 30 minutes. Let's do some breath work, just 3 breaths. That's the normal drill. And it's just to really calm ourselves down. You may have already had a busy day, and maybe your mind is also all over the place, and there's plans for today or tomorrow. So let's bring ourselves into the session by being mindful and being present. We do this by placing 2 feet on the ground and a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose, breathing in. Good. And then exhaling out the nostrils. Okay, let's take in another deep breath in. And then exhaling out the nose. Again, slowly. And last big breath in through the nose. Opening the mouth and gently sigh the breath out. Good. And you can smile if you want. Good. Okay, coming back to a natural, normal breath. I love mindfulness. I've always loved mindfulness. I had my own mental health challenges when I was a young man, and I learned techniques, proactive wellness techniques that helped me so much. And ever since then, I think it was back in the mid 90s. Ever since then, I've had a passion for enjoying practices, different practices. And I never ever thought that I could ever make a living out of being a mindfulness teacher or facilitator or teacher trainer. And I would always do it in the evenings and on weekends as a side thing. I don't even want to say a side hustle because I never really made money out of it. In fact, I think I lost more money than I made out of it, because I was always giving workshops for free and catering and making sure people were happy. So it cost more than I made, but I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed helping people, and I enjoyed seeing people flourish in their wellness. And then all of a sudden, my work became mainstream, and I met Adrian Jacobs from Mindful Revolution, and wow! And then all of a sudden, my whole life changed. I walked away from my own advertising business. I had my own advertising business I walked away from, and I went into this full time. And this is 7 years ago, and I haven't stopped since. And we've just grown and grown and grown and grown. So I feel that in terms of purpose, I've managed to live out my life's purpose. And I recall, I even had a friend who I was at school with, and he bought a guitar, and he would play that thing. And he always said that he loves playing guitar. He loves music. He hated school. He didn't have a brain for school. He played that guitar every day. And then he became a rock star. Like years later, he did theater, he did plays, and then he went to Los Angeles, California. And a guy I grew up with became a rock star, right? And it's just amazing. And now he writes music for the movie. He writes music for Disney and all of that. So it's amazing, right? The thing that you love can become the thing that also pays your bills and your mainstream occupation. And it's also the thing that other people also love. We're going on a little journey to Japan today. Has anybody ever been to Japan? Wakarimasu ka? Has anybody ever visited Japan? Is there anybody here from Japan? I wonder. That would be cool. That would be cool. Would love to hear if you've ever been to Japan. What was your experience like? I've never been, and it's on my bucket list. So I really want to get there. I really want to get there. I love everything about Japan. I love the culture. I love the philosophy, bucket list stuff. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I believe it's really overcrowded. I mean, not overcrowded, but just overpopulated for such a small island. But everything works, right? Everything works well. And the people are very mindful people. Also, Yasmin, yeah, me too. I would love to go to Japan. So hopefully we'll get there soon, sooner than later. But one thing about Japan that I love is a concept called Ikigai. I'm sure you've heard of it, and maybe you've attended an Ikigai workshop. Do you guys know what Ikigai is? Anybody ever experienced what Ikigai is? Okay. It's a model, and it's a model for your purpose, and it's a model for your progress. All right. So here is something that could literally start to affect your mind and your life. There's your Ikigai. All right. Ikigai. Iki means alive or life, right? To be alive. And gai means benefit or worth, right? So a benefit to your life, to make your life worthwhile, to give your life purpose. All right. It's a very ancient practice, as well as a couple of other practices that I love, like kintsugi, where you repair broken ceramics and things like that. But this is similar to the French term. I don't know how you would say. My French is not very good. Raison d'être, or reason for being. Okay, so it's similar. But here we are delving into Ikigai and the philosophy behind it, and it's a great tool. And it's said to evolve from a basic health and wellness principle of traditional Japanese medicine. And the medical tradition holds that physical well-being is affected by one's mental, emotional health and sense of purpose in life. So literally, your vitality, your resilience, your wellness is very aligned with if you are living your purpose. So according to Japanese medicine, they say if you're feeling ill and sick, then maybe you are not moving in the right direction and you are not living a purposeful life. Okay? So
that's why it's not connected.
Hello? Yes. Okay. So let's have a little look and see this question here. Where do you find your happiness? Is it in pleasure or is it in meaning? I'd love to hear from you guys today, and you can pop it in the chat or you can unmute. Where do you find that? What makes you happy? Is it pleasure? See, this lady's eating ice cream, and I love ice cream. I love ice cream. My new passion is the vegan chocolate ice cream, and I'm not vegan, but it tastes better than the normal dairy, and it doesn't block my nose up and give me phlegm, because that's what dairy does, right? It's the lactose thing. So I love this chocolate vegan ice cream. I love pleasure. I love to feel good, sensory pleasure. Pleasure, I love it, right? But what about meaning? So where do you find your joy? Where do you find your happiness? Natalia, thank you. Pleasure is short-lived, but meaning gets you up every day. I think so too. Okay. I think there's nothing wrong with having some pleasure, your favorite coffee, your, I don't know, nice lunch, pizza, whatever, right? Whatever you enjoy. Yasmin, I feel happy when I travel and when I help people improve their lives. Yeah, well, there we go. That's meaning and purpose that's coming through. And I think we all want to make other people happy. I really do. I really believe that to be a human being essentially is we have this innate need to be purposeful and meaningful and live a purposeful life. Okay, so it's kind of like the reason to get up in the morning, or waking up to joy, which is a little bit more poetic. So here we go. Here's a guy who is the master of the flow philosophy. All right. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. Would anybody like to try and pronounce this name? So we can we can see if you're going to get it right. Come on, let's see. Anyone want to try pronounce this surname?
Yeah, can I try?
Yes.
It's Milhai. Yeah, I don't know.
Not bad.
Yeah, no.
Not bad.
Is it Michael?
Close. Very close. Very close. Well done. Well, thanks for trying. Anybody else want to try? I mean, when I saw this name, I was like, what? How? Who has a surname like that? But anyway, I don't want to be biased. I don't want to be prejudiced, because I'm sure in his part of the world, in Hungary, well, he's Hungarian American, so he came from Hungary, moved to. But let's see how you. There we go. Let's see.
We are looking at how to pronounce this name, the name of this Hungarian American psychologist. How do you say it? Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Cheek sent me high. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Pretty straightforward. And now you know.
There you go.
Did you get this? Was this really helpful? Let me know in the comments and by using the like button. Thank you kindly for your support. More videos on how to pronounce more interesting names from history.
So I downloaded that.
I'll see you there to learn more. More names for science as well.
Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Okay, that is how you pronounce it. So if anybody asks you, do you know anything about the flow state? He says, yes. The flow state was originally coined by someone called Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Does it matter? No, I don't. But anyway, we had a bit of a laugh. He talks about flow, and he talks about flow being the best moments, or the moments when we are at our best. And it usually occurs when a person's body or mind is stretched to a limit in a voluntary attempt to accomplish something difficult or something worthwhile. So flow is said to occur when you constantly or consistently doing something you love and you're good at it, with a possibility added benefit of bringing value to others' lives. So flow might be seen in tune with your ikigai, or activities that give your life meaning and purpose. So I'm a musician, and I love to play guitar, drumming, that sort of thing. So when I'm in that place and I'm performing, I'm in a state of flow. I love it. Other people are enjoying it. Hopefully I get paid for it, whatever. Even now, right, when I'm delivering this to you, I'm in a state of flow because I'm very interested in this topic. I'm very excited about it. So when I was young, I didn't like school. School wasn't for me. I didn't like the academics, but I enjoyed the arts. So for me, as a young boy, I would draw, I would paint. And sometimes it would be 2:00 in the morning and I didn't realize that time had just flown while I was drawing and painting. So I was in a state of flow. Time just disappeared. What are you doing when you are in flow? Does this resonate with you? Is there something that you do that you feel that you are in a state of flow? Maybe it's something to do with your job. Maybe, it's a part of your job that you really love. Maybe it's a hobby. And I would love to hear from you. Is there something that you do that creates that flow? Yeah, that's it. Rosemary says, when I'm reading, Oh, Wapalumi. Yeah, Mihai. Oh, my word. Fatima, now I know the Arabic is not complicated. No, it's not too bad. When I'm reading Rosemary Babalo, when I read novels, that's fantastic. Of course, you can get in a state of flow. It's like the words disappear when you're reading, and then you are transported into imagination, isn't it? Working out. Yeah, Natalia, I also enjoy working out, and I get into a state of flow. When you're editing photos, Fatima says, there we go. That's a nice one. Listening to music. Thank you, Olu. That's great. Watching a nice movie. Yeah. So you're so into the movie, you can't think of anything else, right? That's now we just got to get people to pay you to watch nice movies, Aditya, when I work at night, after the time when I sleep, time is past when I work at night. Yes, after the time. Yeah, very good. Reading a novel, Felicitas, or doing maths. Wow, working with numbers. You see, that working with maths would not put me on a state of flow, but that's good for you. Looking at art, you see, our brains are all wired differently. When I'm dancing, Tracy, beautiful. Cooking and singing, Imelda, absolutely. Dancing, isn't that great? Okay, when you're in a state of flow. Hopefully we can get the state of flow going at work for something, listening to music and dancing. Nice, Yasmin. I'm glad to hear. Dancing can also be a good exercise. You know, dancing alone, dancing with others, whatever. So looking at Ikigai, Babala, whenever I eat. Oh, you obviously love food. You obviously love food. So, you know, this Ikigai, we are so interconnected with all of life. We feel happy when our talent is good for others as well. All right. So you can see here what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So let's see if we're looking now at what the world needs, okay? What the world needs and possibly what you can be paid for. How do you enjoy making other people happy? So, I mean, Yasmin said, you know, she enjoys making other people happy and travel. Is there something that we enjoy that benefits other people? And you know, my auntie she likes to bake, and she bakes the best chocolate cakes, best. And actually, and there's also like an Arabic dish called kibineh, which I absolutely love. And tabbouleh salads. She makes the best tabbouleh salads. I love it, right? And shish barak. It's like a specific yogurt dish, traditional to Lebanon. So I love these. Like, she makes the most beautiful food, and she's happy. And then she sells it to the family, and she's got a little business going, you know. So what is it that you love to do that other people enjoy, that you can share? Let's have a look. I like to bring in.
Can I share something?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Yasmin.
Actually, I have two things that when I improve people's life, actually, when I travel with them, I originally worked as a tour guide, so sometimes I lead like trips and journeys and take group of people with the best of the best places, with the best price, with the best activities, and it's all volunteering. So that's why people at that time, they are very happy. This is something makes me very, very happy, traveling with people and make new friends and so on. Something in work, actually, it's related to DHL. When I am actually, when dealing with customers, that they don't know the difference with DHL. We have 5 or 7 DHL, we are a very big group. But when a customer contacts me to know, I let him or redirect him to the which DHL and whom he could deal with and so on. This also improves people's life. So it's on personal level and on business level. Thank you, Mark.
That's so beautiful. I love it. And oh, Yasmin, I can just imagine how rewarding it must be taking people to a new place. They've never been there. They feel safe. They feel that you have got it. You've got them, and they're going to be okay in their hotel or their place where they're staying. They're saving money, and they get to see the best parts of town. I can only imagine how rewarding that must be, and to tell them about the history of the place and whatnot. That must be a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And if you're still doing it part-time, that's also very nice. When I was working full-time, I had my evening thing that I would do, right, which was mindfulness. So, but again, what you're talking about, like at work, we can also find these moments of flow and helping people. And Yasmin's got such a big heart that to help people and connect them to the right places, the right people, can feel good. It feels good when we help people. Yeah, it feels good, right? Khalil Gibran, one of my favorite poets in the whole world, he says, "Work is love made visible." Think about it. Your job, okay, in the organization, while you're working, a lot of us think, it's just a silly job. I don't know, I'm part of the machine. I do this, but I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel purposeful. Let me challenge that idea and think carefully that what you do is making someone happy. What you do is enriching someone else's life. And you might never get to see those people. You might never get to see those businesses that you help, but you do, okay? So just imagine all that you do and the people that you speak to on the phone and how you help them has far-reaching benefits in the world, okay? And it helps people to earn a living so that they can feed their children and their families. So it's a good thing. We're part of a good thing, right? And we're all interconnected. So, a lot of the time we can think like, oh, what's the other thing I should be doing? But sometimes it's just right under our very nose. It's right there. So yeah, thanks, Yasmin, for sharing. So this Ikigai, it's got some historical shifts in meaning, but it really at the end it means meaning, purpose, fulfillment, while also contributing to the good of others. So it's your meaning, it's your fulfillment, your happiness, your talents, and are other people enjoying it as well? And I really do believe that we want to help other people. When we see someone in need, like maybe it's a little child lost at the shopping mall, we're not going to stand and laugh. Ha ha, it's silly little boy or girl, you lost, haha. No, we don't do that. We help them. We say, where's your mom? Well, let's help you find your dad or whatever. And we love, we also love watching movies with the superheroes. They save the world. We love movies like that, right? They're always movies about good girls and guys saving the world, and we rejoice in that. So to bring it into purpose, maybe take a pen and paper and make some circles like you see right here, all right? Maybe draw something there and make some circles if you can, or even just think about it in your mind. What is it that you love? And make a list of some of the things that you love, okay? What is it that you love? You can see in the model, it's, your passion, your mission, like maybe what are you born for in this life? Do we know? Sometimes we still struggle to find what is our purpose in this life. And I think that also changes, right? I don't know if anyone is actually born for a specific role. I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But it's whatever drives us and whatever makes us feel happy. Okay? What you're good at. Are you good at it? And when you're good at something, we do that, we have a lot of dopamine in our brain. So maybe write down a few things. What are you good at? Because when you do those things and you're good at it, you get quickly into the state of flow. Okay? And then can you be paid for it? So there's a lot of people that love doing what they do. They're good at it, but they can't earn anything from that. Okay? I think we have to decide, is it possible for me to do that? And, obviously there's nothing wrong with what you love and what you're good at, and you've got those two circles going. But if you want the full ikigai to come into the picture, then you've got to ask yourself, can I be paid for this? Is it possible for me to earn some kind of a living out of that? And then is it what the world needs? Okay. So, that's the thing. We can be, of course, the world needs you to do your job. Okay. And a lot of the time, maybe we can fall in love again with what we do. Maybe we've fallen out of love with what we do. Because we're good at it. We know we're good at it. Maybe we've been doing the same job for 10 years, 20 years, and we've just fallen out of love. Can you fall in love again? I often think of married couples that have been married for a long time, and then, the passion dies, the spark dies. But there are couples that then reignite the flame and they love each other all over again. They even take their vows over again. They go on a second honeymoon. They do wonderful things. They can reignite that love. So that's a good question. Okay. You love it. All right. Where you feel most alive, most fulfilled. Maybe it's sailing, writing poetry, rock climbing, singing, reading, spending time with friends, that kind of thing. You're good at it. Maybe it's playing the piano or being empathetic or public speaking or sports or I don't know, neuroscience, you've got a passion, or painting. Then the world needs it. Okay. Maybe it's like nursing, helping others, volunteering, whatever it may be. And maybe it's just what the job is that you are doing, and you get paid for it, right? You get paid for it. And a lot of the time, sometimes we find opportunities within the organization to expand our portfolio. Okay. So even within the organization, you can have a passion and you say, well, I want to extend this into the organization. I would like to, maybe it's baking. I want to bring my cakes to work. Or maybe it's teaching. I want to teach during my lunch hour, and that's how I'm going to start. Or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. And that is your ikigai, your sense of purpose and meaning. And dear friends, if we're talking about, I'm going to come back to what I said in the beginning. If you are living a life of purpose and meaning, your mental health and your physical health is going to be great. It's going to improve. All right. There's a big link between feeling a sense of purpose and meaning and your health. So that's why it is so important to create this life of purpose. Okay. Not just on autopilot. We're just sort of going through life, and we're not quite sure what we're doing, and we're bumping here and there. But to live a life of purpose is definitely going to. So maybe you want to spend time with people that inspire you, explore your passions. You're sitting there going, oh, I don't know. But maybe there's something in your past that's painful that you can turn into your purpose. I lost my dad because he had mental health problems. Because of him, I'm doing this work. So that was my pain, and now it's my purpose. So, there's certain ways to find these things. All right, certain ways. Oh, all right. Well, thank you. I enjoyed this, and I obviously think it's an important subject. I appreciate everybody coming today. Keep coming and invite your friends, your colleagues, because, you know, that could be part of your Ikigai too. Yasmin, thank you for sharing today. Lovely to see you, and glad that you are well. And to all our friends, thank you for the chats, and also for trying to pronounce that very strange name. But now we got it. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much. Thanks, Natalia. Take care. Bye, everybody. Mihai. Chick Mihai. Yeah, Mihai. I like it. I'm glad you hi, Babalo. Tamu, thank you. Thank you, Yasmin. That's a good session. Thank you. Aditya, thanks. Sevi, thank you so much. See you guys soon. Please keep coming. If you're not here, we're not here, you know. So thank you, Elena. Ejoma, thank you so much. Olwepalumi, thank you so much. Thanks for always being here and supporting these sessions. All right, bye now. Babalo, you're making me laugh. Thank you, Regina.